Have you ever heard of the law of attraction? In essence, it's a technique that is promising you to become rich, successful, and wealthy by thinking your way into it. But can this really work, and can it work for sales success? In this episode, I want to convince you, together with a best-selling author and guest on the show, that with the law of attraction, you can unlock powers that were hidden for you, and that there is more than meets the eye that can propel your sales success to new heights. Let's go. Welcome to a new episode of Deal, your podcast for IT and software sales. My name is Jiří Šikla and I'm your host and guide that shows you the way through the jungle of tech sales. Today's episode is in English, as we have an English-speaking guest on the show, and with him we'll be diving into a topic that is very often left untouched and underutilized, but has the potential to propel the sales success of you and your teams to new heights. And if you really think about it, most people are looking for the best tactics, best strategies, what to say, the best scripts. But most people know what to do. It's not that hard today to find the best scripts and tactics and techniques, methodologies, but most people never apply it. They know what to do, but they don't do what they know. And mostly it's because of fear, it's because of lack of energy and mental strength. And very few people actually work on that mental part. Like an athlete is not just working out in the gym and practicing, but also training his mind to succeed. So let me introduce to you my guest that is an expert for this topic and of course many other topics. He has over 23 years of experience and he has shattered records in sales and set new benchmarks in outbound prospecting. His mission is to help sellers, consultants, coaches and teams to break through their income and sales limits and ceilings to achieve prospecting and sales success. And his career included roles at Salesforce, LinkedIn, Coachava, and also Tune. And because this is still not enough, he's also the recipient of the famous and prestigious 10x award for generating 6 years worth of pipeline in just 6 months. One of his achievements includes also driving 1.2 million in closed-won revenue in just 20 hours during a dollar exhibition. Some even call him the Obi-Wan of sales. That was the most interesting thing I read about him. And in his best-selling book, Attraction Selling, he describes how to use music, sleep, and the law of attraction for sales success. Justin, welcome to the Deal Podcast. Welcome to the show.
Well, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to have a inspired conversation today.
And I really love your head as well. I hope everyone who is watching us on YouTube can see it as well. Justin, I want to dive straight into the topic. So your journey living kind of from paycheck to paycheck, don't knowing how to pay your rent, and then becoming like a 6-7 figure earner is, of course, really inspirational. Everyone who reads your books also will read more about your personal story. But can you share a moment from your personal life that made you a true believer in the law of attraction, or that there is something more than just meets the eye?
Yeah, so I started in the music business, and you have like a 1 in a million chance of something cool happening, and I got to showcase in my rock band, this is in my late teens, for Jimmy Iovine, who signed Dr. Dre and Eminem, so that's pretty cool, at the Viper Room in LA. And then again, when I was 21, I got to sing backup for Kenny Loggins live on stage, which was a dream in another way. And then I spent like 10 years just falling into sales in incubators in Southern California. And around my 30th birthday, I decided to move up to San Francisco. When I was 26, I ran into Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, at a charity auction dinner. And he gave me the secret DVD, and it didn't even have a cover on the case. And I just thought, wow, okay, this is interesting. And I got his books and tapes. We started listening to that thing, and within 6 weeks, I met Rhonda Byrne, who created it. And that was pretty crazy synchronicity, and she taught me some things. And she had taught me about this book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. It was written in 1910, which was a huge inspiration for that book, and books like Think and Grow Rich and As a Man Thinketh. So I read The Science of Getting Rich 1,000 times. So I moved up to Silicon Valley to kind of chase my brother, who was an engineer at Google. And I was making like $45K, and for 3 months I couldn't get an offer because I didn't have a college degree. So I started doing a lot of visualization, and I started learning about specially tuned frequencies, solfeggios like 432 hertz and 528 hertz, and the impact they have on the brain and the heart and the chakras to align yourself with universal energy. I was studying quantum mechanics. So I ended up writing a white paper secretly at that time called Musifestation, and it's at musifestation.com. You think music and manifestation. Well, I'm doing this process, and I got a job offer for $45K. And I told my brother, he's like, you got to take it. You're not that experienced in SaaS, like you don't have a degree. I ripped it up, and within a week, I ended up getting an offer from Sean Parker, the world's youngest billionaire. He was like Justin Timberlake in that movie. And it was through some investors I had in incubators in Southern California who knew Joe Green, his partner, this company called Causes, and I ended up getting a six-figure offer. And it was surreal. At that time, it was just extremely unlikely that I was going to land anywhere. And a year later, I went to Salesforce. So that was like the first huge demonstration of the power of positive thinking, spaced repetition of affirmations, visualization. And that's ended up going into my third book in this trilogy called Attraction Selling, is applying this universal law of attraction, or the law of love, into selling. And it's never been done before. And nobody has 20 years experience selling software and 20 years experience with metaphysics has ever done this kind of jazz fusion before.
That's yeah. I mean, listening to you, I think there are a lot of listeners that are seeing you or maybe hearing you, and they see this guy with the red hat, who was selling software, and with some magical Wusa law of secret thing with hertz and music and whatever, he made it to be a millionaire and really achieve sales success for himself. So I think a lot of people can be still very skeptical if they hear it, and I understand also why. I read Think and Grow Rich, I think 3 times. I do believe that there is energy that you can connect to that gives you more power. But many people are familiar with the concept of the law of attraction from books like The Secret, but they may not see the real relevance for it for sales specifically. And we speak about sales, it's a sales podcast. So why do you believe it's really crucial for every sales professional to really dive into that topic of law of attraction for their sales careers?
Yeah, so we don't attract what we desire, we attract what we are. And so what we believe deep down about us determines our exact income. And 95% of sales success is internal. It's governed by your thoughts and your subconscious, self-conception. So if you believe you're a 200K earner, that's what you're going to get. Or 100K earner, that's what you're going to get. And the only way you're going to get to 750K or over $1 million is when you see that for yourself. And I've talked with people like Ian Koniak and Scott Leese and some Brandon Fluharty and Jamal Reimer and other folks who have crossed that 7-figure line. And there's definitely a huge mindset element. If you're doing a 7-figure deal and I'm trying to close you and I'm in doubt and I don't feel worthy to talk to the C-level and I'm catastrophizing in my head, it's very unlikely it'll change. So the big things in this book that make it different is, one, the word action is an attraction. You can't just sit around dreaming of Ferraris. You do have to prospect. But I teach people to prospect in a loving, service-based way that they can actually enjoy. So you're vibrating on a positive. When you're sitting and prospecting and hating it, you're putting out this negativity which is repelling everyone. If you think of the quantum field and energies and vibration and frequencies, right? The other big thing is that Rhonda taught me it's about giving. It's about wanting great success and abundance and prosperity for the end client, for the prospective customer. And so when you do affirmations, it's like I am, elated to see my customers realizing a 10x return on the software. Not just closing the deal or hitting the number winning ladder, but what is the transformation you're driving in the customer. I've never seen that anywhere. So action and giving and altruism are massive. And my books tend to be a little deep and long-winded. So in this book, I literally put all the exercises and tactics and techniques for quantum leaping and fast manifestation for sellers in the first chapter. So you can get this on Kindle for $5, and within the first 45 minutes, you're deep into what to do.
I have a similar experience myself. You mentioned, like, if you don't feel that you're worthy of earning more than 100 or 200 or 300K, you won't be earning more than this, right? It's like, I think a lot of people also describe it like a thermostat in a room, right? If your thermostat is dialed in for 100K or 200K or 28 degrees, and all of a sudden you're starting to earn more, your thermostat is telling you, hey, what's up? You are not a 300K earner, right? You need to go down again. So subconsciously you start maybe sabotaging yourself again, and vice versa. So I had a similar experience where, I'm sure you know Joe Dispenza. If you speak about like vibrations, I think he's one of the people that is teaching it as well. And I did one of his meditations for 30 days. And for 30 days, I was every day for 30 minutes visualizing myself, actually, speaking with clients, having sales success, being worthy of also earning more, and being worthy of also being more successful. It would take too long to describe the whole process, but in essence, you're doing a 60-minute meditation. I did for 30 days straight. And after those 30 days, like, I kid you not, I had the same experience as you. Until then, I was earning always around 150K. And after that, my income exploded. Now I'm 250, 300K. But because that was exactly the amount of money I was visualizing that I actually want to earn eventually. Of course, today 300K is still not good enough, right? You always want to earn more. But what would you say to people that say, hey, this is all bull crap, this is all bullshit? Like, what are those two guys speaking about? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, there's plenty of ways to look at this from a quantum mechanics perspective and just break it down to just science. So if you look at the observer effect, my grandfather was a nuclear physicist who had isotopes to his credit. He ran a particle accelerator called Brookhaven Lab. It's kind of like CERN. He collided atoms and studied them. If you look at subatomic particles on the smallest level, it's mainly space, like 99% of the atom, and the observer looking at it changes the place of the particle. Also, if you take matter and separate it, put some in Japan and some in California, and you project waves or motion at one piece of maybe like human skin and have some in the other location, you'll feel an effect of something that is on two different sides of the world. So there's some kind of quantum entanglement together. And I think those basic quantum theory experiences prove that you're a magnet, you're an energy field, and you radiate and you project out, and you kind of attract what you put out. Now, there's also, in the book, I talk about the reticular activating system, which is a very old part of your brain. And we only use like 5% of our brain. So if you create a goal and you're like, I'm going to make $1 million, and you put your entire brain power into that, you're going to have a lot of success. So I'll break it down in a few easy ways. One, you have 70,000 thoughts a day. They're primarily negative, and they're primarily repetitive. It's like 95% negative, 80% repetitive. So the first step is to just start to see your thoughts. I'm not worthy, I can't do that, I doubt that will happen, and start questioning them logically. It's not true, and start flipping them around. So that's very positive, just to start to figure out that you're not your mind, you're not your thoughts, and you're not your body. Well, you're the soul or the consciousness or the life force throwing itself into form. Then you have some control over your mind, which all the greatest teachers from Buddha to Lao Tzu to, you just name them, I've said like the hardest mastery is just to control your own mind. And that's why I brought music in, because I couldn't meditate, I couldn't quiet my mind. And I even suggest like lowering your caffeine levels, because when the brain is in a relaxed state, it's powerful. And so the traditional model in success in sales is you set a goal and you apply insane effort and work the hardest to hit it. But the truth of how the universe works, taking this from Master Hicks, is you understand what you want and why you desire it, and then you leave the house to the domain of the universe, that bridge of incidences. And that's why I have fractals everywhere and holograms, because for me, what really did it and got me that earning spot was that I killed the profit motive. I say this in the book. I say the profit motive is the mind killer, which is a little riff on Dune. I would sit here and I would think, how can I close this person like a great white shark, like just a little drop of blood? And what I do now is I just think, how can I help this person? And Zig Ziglar said, you get everything you want in life by helping other people get what they want. And, Wayne Dyer has an amazing quote about that, about self-actualized people and how they're trying to, be selfless and giving and put all their focus on other orientation. So when I linked those, it was really powerful. And then Earl Nightingale had this quote where he said, whatever is happening in an industry, do the opposite and you will have outrageous success. So the way the law of attraction works, and I'll quote David Bayer here, is you're like an energy field, and currency, which literally is like electric current, is circulating through you. And when you have negativity and self-doubt, it blocks it like an insulator to the current. So you have a desire plus non-resistance equals the desired outcome, right? And so when people work, and effort, it blocks what they want to see coming. So, my process of musifestation is very simple. You dream of exactly what you want to see happen. Could be a sales process. You get your mind in a relaxed state. You use affirmations and visualization, almost like a meditation. And then you just feel gratitude. And another best time to do this is before bed. And in the book, I highlight that Salvador Dali and Edison both did this. Edison slept with a metal ball, and Dali had the key and a metal plate. And when they would drop the ball, they'd wake up, because in between your beta state, which is your focused thinking state, you go into alpha and then theta and then delta. And in alpha and theta, Quentin Tarantino floats in a inner tube and writes his scripts in the pool. So if you can get your mind to relax, you unlock the power. And if you can reprogram your subconscious mind, which is dictating 95% of your reality, then your reality will shift. And the biggest thing you've got to do with this book is persist. Read it over and over again. I'm not just saying that to sell books, because I read the books millions of times. I just found a lot of the canon, like a lot of like Think and Grow Rich and Science of Getting Rich, a lot of stuff's written like 1910, 1920, 1950. It's highly religious based and biblical based, and I love that stuff. But what I'm doing with this book is really modernizing this for 11 million software sellers and putting it in terminology and vernacular that you'll understand, and salespeople are great at repetition. A lot of them are athletes or musicians, comedians that have different skills. So you can just take this book, start doing what it says, and your life will change.
I want to be really respectful of your time, and there's a few, still like two things I want to get out of you for the listeners here. There's one thing that specifically resonated with me. You mentioned the more you want something, the less likely you will get it, right? You are kind of, I want this so much, and it's kind of running away from you. And it's coming, you're attracting it when you are in this relaxed state, when you leave the how it will happen up to the kind of universe or whatever you might believe in, right? You shared already a few techniques like this visualization and like reduce caffeine levels and music. Can you share, so let's go from talking to practicality, right? Can you share one or two techniques? Can you walk us through one or two techniques that everyone can apply tomorrow to already see some success during his day or during his work week?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is affirmations. So the only thing higher than faith and belief is knowing that you live in a benevolent universe and it's plotting to do you good, a concept I call pronoia, which is the opposite of paranoia. So you don't say, I want to be the top seller at the company, because that's future state and that pushes it away. You say, I am winning the ladder. I am the top seller in the company. I am bringing this deal over the line in Q4, right? I am finding the exact solution that's going to transform the customer's business. I am lucky. I am, gaining all the skills I need from a higher power to make this happen, even if I can't see it. So those I am statements are super powerful. And people have done that with affirmations from other systems, but I've never seen it applied to sales process and methodology. I mean, visualize the outcomes you want in a deal, and then, I'm so happy and grateful that, all 5 stakeholders signed off on this early. I'm so happy and grateful that, my champion has found the P&L and the budget earlier. I'm so happy and grateful that suddenly my frenemy or my blocker has switched jobs. Yes, you can do it for positive things, but the I am affirmations are powerful, and if you set that to music that relaxes you, like tuned to 432 hertz, these are sacred geometries. These are, if you go look, just Google 440 hertz versus 432 hertz, like traditional music, which is 1,000 years old, is tuned in a way that synchronizes the body and harmonizes it, while the 440 hertz turns off the right brain. Another good way to do this is before you sleep, or walking in nature, like earthing, putting your feet in the sand or the dirt, swimming in fresh water in a lake or in the ocean. And this will become a mantra. You'll get to a point where you don't have the negative thoughts anymore. You just have the mantra of what you want to see happen. And then you just live in this really positive place of gratitude and peace and knowingness. If you can believe in things that are yet unseen and know they are for you, you will quantum leap them into your life. You will literally shift into a parallel universe. So I know it sounds really woo-woo, but I've done some really big deals this way.
So is it 434 or 440 hertz that is the magical frequency?
432 hertz for the tuning
432
of the,
hertz.
Yeah,
432 hertz is where you want to do.
I did music, so that's for the A note.
I think you can just also go on YouTube and basically look like 432 hertz music or vibration
Exactly. Crystal singing bowls, chanting monks, the Tibetan chants that just move your body. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Just put an HZ into Spotify or into YouTube, and you'll go down a huge rabbit hole. If you really want to go deep, look at something called cymatics. So there's a really cool video on YouTube where this rock band tunes everything and puts sand on a metal plate and puts like oil in a speaker, and it creates these crazy fractal shapes when they play the different frequencies, and they set it all to music, cymatics. And so I go way down the rabbit hole in the book, but there's a lot of subjects I just touch on the book, almost like a red pill in the Matrix, because I've obviously spent, hundreds and hundreds of hours studying, ancient civilizations and all sorts of different disciplines that are definitely esoteric.
Tell me, I think this whole topic, I think either you believe in it or you don't believe in it. And I also think that if you just don't believe that this really works, it won't work for you, because you won't apply it, or you will apply just half-assed kind of. So if there are people out there that are not yet fully convinced or don't fully believe but would like to believe it, what would be a tactic, a way of, like opening yourself for the possibility that those type of techniques, that this law is really out there, so you can immerse yourself in it and actually use it for your good and for your advantage?
So I would say just that gratitude process of making a journal and listing everything you're grateful for, and then just starting to notice for synchronicities in life and things that start coming together, because when you're grateful, you really align the field, you clear your field, and you open yourself up. The other process I have in the book is this Hawaiian mystic process, which is Ho'oponopono. It's from a book called Zero Limits, and that was Joe Vitale who was in The Secret. And you basically say, I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. It's translated out of old text. But essentially, one of the ways to clear the quantum field is to give up resentments. And you'll see that's the foundation of Alcoholics Anonymous, and a lot of religions, is you have to, make peace, because you can't keep any negative emotion within you. So you find all the people who bother you and bless them. And so when you're on the phone, someone treats you bad on a call, just empathize, and like, who are you being in that moment? Like, that person's fighting a unique battle. I'm not going to condemn them or judge them. Like, Jesus didn't even condemn them. He didn't even have to forgive, because he didn't even condemn. So it's a very powerful process. Like, I guess David Bayer calls it a resentment audit, but right, if we want to make our vessel clear to attract, we first have to clear it out. And so the law of attraction is the law of love. There's nothing as a human soul, if you believe you are, it's all just love inside, and it's all oneness, and we're all connected. So, you can find scientific principles like the quantum universe and go for pure science on this, or you can go like into the spiritual realm. But I think it's pretty hard to deny that if you have a positive attitude and a quality mindset in sales, people are going to gravitate to you. At the very least, like Ziegler said, like your attitude determines your altitude. So I'm definitely not pushing this on anyone, and I'm linking all the disciplines together just out of respect to whatever you believe. Just make it true for you.
Justin, I think you mentioned that we could go down like a different rabbit hole. We could speak about sleep much more. I think sleep in the whole law of attraction is a chapter for itself. Just to wrap up, what is the best way if someone wants to reach out to you, find out more about your work, your coaching, your book? What is the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I've wrapped this thing up into a trilogy called the Justin Michael Method series. It's 3 books. Just go to Amazon and type in Justin Michael. You can find me on LinkedIn. First book is called Sales Superpowers. Second is Justin Michael 2.0. And 3 is called Attraction Selling. And yeah, I'm really just hoping people read this material and apply it. And I do work with people on a one-to-one basis, and I've had incredible experiences like Luke Shalom. He practiced this stuff and he created $500,000 in income in 14 months. Other great coaches within 6 weeks are doing $25,000 a month. I've had sellers cross $750,000, even 7 figures. I had a consultant that I worked with, and around 7 weeks he had a 75K a day. My record is 200 grand in one day. And I've used this stuff to just come out of nowhere in the last 4 years. Maybe be one of the top 5 people doing, I don't know, metaphysical sales coaching. What is it that I even do?
So yeah, I think to sum it up from my side, everyone who is open or who is interested to discover more of this, who's open for a bit of spirituality, more of the hidden powers that are out there, I truly believe in that. Everyone who is listening to the Deal podcast knows me for a long time. This is probably the 201st episode. This will come out. I never shared this with anyone on the podcast, but I truly believe that there is more than meets the eye, and whoever wants to delve into this topic, check out the book of Justin. I will link the book down in the show notes. Justin, what is left to say? I didn't know what to experience, honestly, when we first started this podcast. We just shared a few lines on LinkedIn, and honestly, I really liked it. I wish we can meet someday soon and maybe have a chat around all of this. I really feel you are a interesting soul and interesting character, and was cool having you on the show, and maybe meeting you someday also in person, and maybe again also in a Deal podcast.
Love it. Yeah, the last thing I'd say is think about the term gentle giant, right? Like a lot of you came up with hard managers, right? I used to say my internal voice was like Da Vinci Code. I was just like flogging myself. But it's actually gentleness and internal loving and being in the now and treating yourself internally. So if you have a problem externally with a sale, with a deal, with your job, you're not happy with your boss, with your outcomes, go within. Find the peace within to change what's with that. And that's really the Hermetic tradition of the Emerald Tablet, like as above, so below, as within, so without. And so I'll just say this to end. There's 2 types of manifestation. There is really crafted manifestation, which is manufactured, and then there's surrendered manifestation. So if you really believe in a higher power that is creating your life, creating abundance and prosperity, have trust and believe and become a reverse paranoid. Use pronoia. Imagine how great the deal is going to be, how it's going to work out for you, how you're going to go to a new city like I did several times, San Francisco, St. Louis, New York, Seattle, and keep getting promoted, and I did. Right? If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's what Henry Ford said. So it's been a true honor and pleasure. I feel like a vessel for this work, and I'm just grateful to be able to help some people.
Cool. Justin, thanks for being here. And see you soon. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
What is left to say? This was Justin Michael about the law of attraction in sales, or as he calls it, attraction selling. And honestly, I had an experience myself where this really worked. In essence, it was the last day of the month. I was still missing one deal for my monthly quota and my pipeline was completely empty. I was standing in the elevator of the office building, that's where the office was, and walking out of the elevator, I was telling myself with full confidence, I will step back into this elevator today in the evening after I have found this final deal for my quota. And it was really unrealistic because finding a completely new deal in one day, running through the whole sales process, it's basically unrealistic. But somehow things clicked. I did a cold call, I did the demo in the afternoon, I had the negotiation, and I closed a 6K deal within one day and hit my monthly quota. And this was for me a little bit of an aha moment, that if you really want something, if you really believe in it, and if you have the confidence that you are worthy of it, that it really can happen. So I hope that you are open for this topic. It's been a different topic compared to the other topics I have on the Deal podcast. They're very practical, very hands-on. This was also very hands-on, but you really need to believe and be open for this. So I hope you like it. If yes, leave me a review, thumbs up, a subscription on YouTube, or 5 stars on Spotify, or a review on Apple Podcasts. I'm looking forward to your feedback. I'm looking forward to meet you again in the next episodes. Stay tuned, stay attracted, and meet you soon at the Deal Podcast. Ciao.